Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, all. Welcome back to another round. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my boy, Sean, and we are here for Love and Marriage DC, Season 3, Episode 3. And baby, it was a little boxing in the box about to happen up there in DC. A little rumble in the jungle, so shall we say. But anyways, before we get into all of that, please do me a favor. If you're here today, drop me some hearts in the chat. Let me know you're here. Say hi. And while you're saying hi, the other way to say it in sign language is by hitting that like button over there in your left-hand corner, I will believe. And if you do me another favor, please hit subscribe. Also, share with a friend and hit the notification bell so you can catch every single one of these episodes that we drop for y'all. Because we are trying to keep Love and Marriage DC on the airs because we love it so much. So let us know that you're here with us also. So the industry knows that y'all love it just as much as we do. Okay. So bring your friends that watch the show with us so we can all have a little kiki and talk about the tea at the same time. Child, let me not mention too much talking about tea, child. Let me stop. The tea talk get you in trouble, baby. Anyways, glad to see you all here. Hey, El Cid. Hey, Gigi. Hey, Letitia. Hey, Kay Calloway. Hey, Ellen V. Who else I miss? Who I miss? Did I miss anybody so far? No? All right. I think I got everybody that's come in so far. Hey, Sean. Kojo should be joining us shortly. Hopefully, you never know. You never know that. If y'all know how we know by traveling with Kojo, he'd be floating in and out of spaces. So you'll never know what you're gonna get with that guy. Hey, April. All right, Sean. First thoughts on episode 3.
I think we just, we need to cue the Escape song. We need understanding, we just need to communicate because you don't hear what I say. They're not listening. Nobody's listening. Well, I definitely, love Ashley, love Joy, but they just not listening to each other. And that happens. It's not abnormal, but it's like I just feel this is like, we get stuck in hearing whatever our own narrative is. So we hear it and nobody is listening to each other. They're just running. So, it's unfortunate. And I don't think it's going to get any better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, if it even gets better.
You just said something too. That's the word for this whole episode is like nobody here is listening at all. We didn't have Jamie and Arena listening to each other. You barely had Quick listening to Ashley about little Jamie. You didn't have Black listening to Clifton listening to Black in both ways. It was a lot of not listening. Arena was trying to get through to Joy about situations, but Joy just wants to see it the way she wants to see it. But had she took some forewarning, we'd probably not be here now in this day and space. But here we are. So you said a word on play, Alexis, play Understanding by Escape, because ain't nobody listening to nobody to understand. They just listen to get their point across.
Yeah, and I think Black had some good advice for Clifton, but I think he also needed to just, know when to fall back. Already, Joy is, what's this? I don't know what the expression is, 98 hot, whatever that expression is. She don't like Black. So, and Clifton is well aware of that. So, they need to tread lightly. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes we might have good advice, but we have to understand if we're not the right messenger, sometimes we just need to listen. And I think El Cid put it in the chat, right? Sometimes you just need to listen to the person. I hear you, bro, and wait for them to ask you, what do you think?
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens going forth. But the episode starts off with what was that? The Quick and the episode starts off where it left off in the last episode, at them still at the ring, at the wrestling ring. And Quick just decides, in my view, in my POV, maybe I missed something. Quick decides just to tell the men how the women are having a beef, basically Ashley and Joy. Clifton confronts Quick's version of it, but Black jumps in and defends Quick against Clifton and saying he's not actually, since he has not actually seen the text, he should not really be speaking on it for, or speaking against Quick's view of the text. And you was just speaking a little bit about how Black kind of should have backed off just a little bit, but what do you think about his advice in that particular moment?
Yeah, I think that's touchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially, the natural inclination is a man is going to defend his wife. Especially this is such a new friendship group. It's not like we've been friends for 20, 30 years. We know each other. There's some trust built in. Then I can, kind of take your advice. And if you're saying something against what my wife is saying, then I can kind of listen to it. But if we just became friends, I think you just need to, you need to back, before you start asserting yourself and opinions and saying what I shouldn't be doing. Because I'm going to tell you what you should be doing is, minding your business with your wife.
And where your wife at?
And your wife. And your wife.
Yeah, I think the one who was being the most stand-up-ish and adult about the situation was Jamie. Jamie was on the sideline like, I'm going to say the least possible. He said what he said. I'm going to leave it alone. He feel like he comfortable with his scenario, so I'm not going to even open the door on this scenario about Ashley and that. I'm here to listen. I'll listen to this part right here. And I feel like, Quick can still defend his wife. Regardless, he says that he told her that she was wrong, and I believe that he probably did mention that she was wrong. And in public, you got to still defend your wife, but Quick at the same time, you a little bit wrong too, because you be Mr. Run tell that a lot too, and you like to tell your version of it too, because it'd be a little skeptical. And so for him to sit there and say, "Well, I watched my wife send these texts," well, of course, if Joy is telling Clifton, well, I ain't get, or the text was this, that, and the third, y'all gonna come at an impasse. There's no need to argue it unless you have the proof right there in front of you. Like, here, she CC'd me. I got the text right here. This says blah, blah, blah. As men, just say, hey, I respect your side to see where your wife is. Maybe let me talk to mine. You talk to yours. We can see if we can get them to sit down and try to hash this out, because we trying to have the peace between us. And if not, let's just agree to stay out of it. There's been many shows where the men pretty much just stay out of the women's affairs, and the men got along. Housewives of Atlanta is one of them shows that, for the most part, outside of Peter, the men stayed out of the women's affairs, and they pretty much still got along no matter what the women was going through.
Yeah, you see that in a lot of the shows. The men try to be neutral. They try to be a voice of reason. Even Married to Medicine, the guys try to, they try to help the ladies navigate. Or sometimes they're like, listen, y'all want to scream and yell? We're going to be back here. Y'all want to scream and yell and cuss and fuss and carry on? Now, some of them might, behind the scenes on social media, they do what they do. But at least on the show, exactly, they get the thumbing. But hey, that happens. I get it. But at least on the show, they try to like navigate the ladies. If they get too riled up, even I think there was a time when Todd Candy was getting all worked up. Todd tried to, just help de-escalate the situation. And I think really as men, that's what our goal should always be, is to not be amplifying things, but kind of try to bring some reason. And I think that's what they should have, like, if they were going to bring it, they should have had a more of an open forum where Quick would say, instead of being so defensive, like, hey, what do you think about what Ashley did? What's your point of view? Because things kind of got amplified. Quick didn't help either, to be honest, because Quick carried that information back from what Clifton said. And then he just further amped up Ashley And that's right. It just reminded me, because the whole jealous thing came from Clifton and Quick's conversation, where if he had a problem with it, he should have addressed Clifton right then and there, and they should have agreed, hey, better language, blah, blah, blah. We're going to leave this where it is, versus playing the run tell that. And then he went and told Ashley, and now she's on 10. So he didn't, I don't think he effectively de-escalated it. And I'm not saying he should keep things from his wife, but if you know your wife is, a little bit of a hothead, a lot of a hothead, then why would you tell her something like that? You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I agree, Sean. It's sometimes when you kind of know your person, you should just say least as possible. I ain't gotta say you gotta lie. They gotta sit there and stuff like that. Or you just tell them you handle whatever it was. It's handled. Don't worry about it, babe. We had our conversation. We handled it as men. We agreed. We're gonna stay out y'all business. Y'all got this. Let y'all women do what y'all women do. But yeah, moving on to the next scene. Arena, Jamie, and their mother meet at the pet store.
And the lizard.
And the little bearded lizard. I can't remember how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to even misspell it. Say it. I'm gonna call him Birded M, Mr. Birdie. They was out there shopping for the poor baby some food, and they got to tussling over the fact that Arena done seen Carmen and Clifton posting pics, and Arena feels that it is very inappropriate of Carmen and Clifton to post these type of pictures. And somehow that turned into Jamie and her getting into a back and forth about their past indiscretions with one another. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like the way either one of them handled that situation. I didn't like the way Jamie kept calling her crazy. I didn't like the way that she was just trying to force Jamie into answering the question when he clearly didn't have to or need to. He said he heard the man. That's all he needed to do. And because she wanted a particular answer, she gets hot-tempered and storms up out of there. I was like, why are we doing this? Grandma just trying to get her some daggone food for her baby. And we fight in the people's store. What is happening?
Yeah, I felt bad for Grandma and the lizard because they stressing them both out. And the mealworms had me grossed out too. I was like, come on now. I don't want to see no mealworms. But yeah, I'm like, why are y'all, and this has happened to me before. It's like you're gonna take somebody's issue and then you're gonna absorb it and make it your issue. And that's when you just gotta, first of all, it's like, why are we fighting about something that don't even have nothing to do with us? So yeah, I wish they wouldn't have did that. Because having those types of, it didn't get too crazy, but the mama is seeing y'all cussing and fussing. But from the look on the mother's face, they've been married 27 years. She's like, this is what they do. This is what they do. And then I'm glad they took it to therapy, though. I really am glad they took it to therapy. I love the therapist's advice. He was like, do you want to be right? Or do you want to be happy? Pick one. So I'm so glad they're in therapy, and I'm glad they're normalizing that for people, because some people feel like, oh, we can't go to counseling or therapy unless we got a major problem, or I'm not going to therapy because I don't need to pay nobody to tell me I'm wrong, or wrong mindset, right? It's always great to have that expert that's there to help you navigate issues, because so often people they take an issue and they make it about the person. So a therapist can help you separate the issue that you might be having from the person, because I get mad with you about a specific issue we're having, but then it becomes about you, and now I'm mad at Jay, versus I'm mad at the fact that we disagreed about something that happened. So I love that they're they're in therapy. They're learning to navigate their issues a lot better, talk about things, because the therapist didn't choose a side. She told Arena, she told Jamie, and kind of helped them both realize they still got to work on these things that are unresolved.
And to piggyback on your taboo on the thought that people have about therapy being taboo, they can't do it. This therapist was a good was a good sign of how you pick a proper therapist for your relationship, because like you said, she was very neutral. She didn't pick a side. She wasn't there just to hear Raina. She wasn't there just to hear Jamie. She was there to hear them both and make sure they both hear each other. And this is what comes in. What I just want to say is a short segue is vetting your therapist out. You don't have to stick with the very first one you find. But the one thing is, you do have to both agree on the one you choose. So if you guys have to go through a couple of different therapists to find the right one, I would advise that you all do it, even if it's just a personal therapist for yourself. Sometimes you got to find one that makes you feel comfortable enough to actually share what's wrong, instead of just wasting your money sitting there and not saying anything, and then saying this therapist is jumping down your throat and all this stuff when they're trying to actually give you good advice. So just take your time, find you a therapist, work out your situations. And look, these people have been married 27 years. You could say at this point in their career, that at their relationship, they don't need a therapist. At any point, we all need somebody. At the beginning, the middle, and the end, we all need somebody to help fix this, because we all go through them changes individually and as a couple. So kudos to that. But I'm gonna circle back to the incident at the store. I was really disappointed in Arena, because it's like Jamie said, you got some your own indiscretions, and then here you are once again inserting yourself into other people's business. Now you inserting yourself so much that is bringing up things that y'all haven't even dealt with. You and Jamie haven't even dealt with. And so now he's back triggered by some stuff. And then because he's going back in the past, you want to go back even further in the past. And it just makes it sound like y'all living in tit for tat, which we know that y'all not at this point in your life. But because you guys actually haven't taken those proper steps to just really resolve that issue, it still comes up. And as we go back to the therapist part of it, I like how the therapist helped them tell them, say, hey, if you've agreed to forgive this person about this situation, that's where we leave it. We don't get to sit here and pick and choose when we want to bring it back up. You said, I forgive you. That means that we move forward. Now, I'm not saying that you forget, but that means that we now start anew and we move forward from this day forward. We can't keep living in that past, because if we keep living in that past, this is going to constantly be our situation. Now we're going to keep arguing every time one of us get triggered about it. We got to agree to move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, I just didn't understand, and I think a lot of times people, it's like sometimes I could see something, but people don't know how to sit in silence. And I know they're doing a show, but I think people need to ask questions before they assume things. If I see something, Jay, and I want to share it with you, then I'm not just going to go in with my opinion. And I think Arena, as good as her intentions might have been, she should have asked questions before she went in guns a-blazing, like, oh, I've seen this before. This has happened to me. And I think that part I'm going to give her credit, because she shared an example, like a similar situation has happened to me. So that way, you're telling the person, hey, listen, I've been there, so I'm trying to share something that happened with me, which is good. But I think the even better thing to do is ask her, hey, I saw this online. How do you feel? You know what I mean? Like asking Joy, what do you feel? What do you think? And then she could have explained, hey, listen, I don't have a problem with it. Me and Carmen, whatever, we have a good relationship. I'm comfortable with it. I wasn't there. I knew that I wasn't going to be there. I knew they were posting the picture. They don't do things that I'm not aware of. I know to y'all it may seem some type of way, but we are friends and there's nothing more, nothing less, right? See, then you get ahead of it before you insert your opinion. And then sometimes you can make somebody feel a way, or you start a thing that doesn't need to be a thing, right? So I think that's just a better way of going about it. If you have an opinion you want to share, that's unsolicited, because people love to dole out unsolicited advice, and sometimes it goes left. Fortunately, seems like Arena and Joy are still in a good position. It didn't impact things, but I think it kind of can start things out. Like if I just start telling you, hey, Jay, I think you need to do this with your page, and I think you need to do that and do this and do this, and you're like, okay. Did I ask you though, Sean? Did I ask you for this advice? Yeah.
It starts being like you're a controlling friend. I get what you're saying. I agree with that. I think there was a better way that she could have did. And going forward into the episode, when she does sit down with Joy, she kind of does go about it that way. And but I just feel like in this moment, you didn't have to turn their issue into an argument with you and your husband. If he didn't want to answer it, just say, okay, moving on. But because you were still trying to get back to some past issues before your indiscretions, you wanted to make sure that y'all on the same page because you haven't resolved some of yours and stuff. So it's just like, whew, I can't. I mean, Jamie is a straight no chase type of dude, and he'll sit there call you a hypocrite to your face or whatever. But I was just like, bruh. Bruh, you be harsh a little too. You be a little too straight. A little too straight. I need you to put a splash of cranberry up in there for me. Just a little. Something a little sweet. Wash some of this alcohol down because, baby, you coming in too strong. She may be a hypocrite, but she has to be a hypocrite with good reason because clearly you've done something that she's forgiven time and time again, as she states. But she has something that may appear as a get back, or it could look bad on her part. We don't have no real proof of her indiscretion, but it didn't look good in your eyes. I get it. I can respect that. And you can't just call her a hypocrite and not understand where she's coming from, because technically she has been there. She's been there for your end, she's been there for her end, so she sees both ends. And in real life, if this is a real situation, she is the right person to help Joy. But y'all both got to just slow up. Just look at the scenario. Jamie, let Jamie be when he say, I'm not in it. If you want to insert yourself in it, by all means, do you, sis. But leave me out of it. And just leave him out of it. Don't get mad. Don't try to change his opinion. Just go do you. Save your friend. Any last thoughts on this part before we move on?
No, because I think, listen, these things happen and it looks like they navigated it well. So I'm happy, in this particular instance, whether it was Jamie and Arena, they took it to therapy and I think they got to a better place and realizing that they thought it was, what they did say, and I like this too, and this just made me think about it, is that they have a way of just sweeping things under the rug and not dealing with it. And I guess in the therapy process, they've realized that that doesn't make it not go away. And I love that. I hope that people watch that and took that message away, because sometimes people think like that. They think, oh, it doesn't bother me. Because we even saw that a little bit, not to go too far off topic, but we saw that with LaRon last night in his interview with Kojo. He was like, oh, that's my past. That's not affecting me. Yes, it is. You don't even realize it is, because you see what happened. They got triggered in their argument, talking about Joy and Clifton and the whole CARMEN thing. And it just brought it right back up because it was never resolved, because you just kind of moved along to get along. But don't think that makes things go away, because you see how real it was for both of them. Because Jamie got upset about Arena's former business partner, and then she got upset about people the same, that he used to take pictures in the club with and things like that. So don't think just because you're not talking about it and you've moved on that it's resolved. That doesn't mean it's resolved. You need to work it out. You need to flesh it out. You need to figure out how you're going to navigate it going forward. You got to talk out things. So.
Well said. Well said. Well, the other family we got together and stuff, it was the Silvers, and they had a little play date at the wall climbing. And it was good. Ashley still be bothered about how much he worked, but it was good to see him doing some family time with them and spend a little time getting back to what's more important. Sometimes we forget in our strive to be the greatest of our lives. We forget our family needs our time a lot too. So, we'll get on some of those topics, especially like with Monique and her son a lot later today. But we have a lot of that going on. And so they mentioned going to the game and inviting everybody. And of course, Ashley is telling Quick, hey, invite who you want, but you can tell by her body language she don't agree with some people being invited to the party. And they have a conversation on little Jamie. And what stuck out in that part for me was the confessional when Ashley is basically stating how she understand where little Jamie is coming from because she didn't have the best relationship with her mother, and she sees how he's not having his voice in a lot of things, and she just wants to have a sit down with him. And here comes Quick in the confessional, basically saying, "Oh, that's I love that for you, and I love that for little Jamie." But to me, he sounded a little salty when he said that, and I was just like, "Bro, why are you so mad still? What is the issue?" As the mentor, you might not have agreed with his behavior, but as a mentor, we understand this is a learning process. You're still in training, so you're going to make mistakes. It's not my job to stay holding a grudge over you if I'm mentoring you, because what I'm teaching you is how to hold grudges and stay bitter and not give grace to people when they make mistakes. So if you feel some type of way and you want to talk about how a man should move, a man should be able to forgive a man when he finally comes to him, no matter what. And say, you know what? I understand where you was hurt, young man. Let me apologize for my part, and let's move forward. Your wife doing her part on it, that's great. I love that for Ashley. But I feel like Quick as the mentor should have been that one. What you think, Sean?
Yeah, I think it goes back to that great advice the therapist gave Jamie and Arena, and it can apply in friendships too and other relationships. It's like, do you just want to be stuck? And I think Quick is just so stuck on being right. Like he's still stuck on like what Jamie Jr. did on social media, and it's like, get over it. You got to get over it, because to a certain point, or you just want to harp on this, or do you want to just move forward? And I think also people need to understand that you can't necessarily control how somebody reacts when you do something that's hurtful. And I think although we might prefer that people don't go on social media and air us out or say things about us, hey, sometimes that's what happens, especially if. And I think Jamie has to realize, Quick has to realize that you said something on TV in a very public platform. It's not like he overheard something you said about him and he got offended and took it to social media. He saw what you said about him, not to his face, but he saw it play out on TV. So you got to understand that also impacts him.
I definitely agree with that. And that's why I'm just gonna keep holding Quick accountable, because you're the supposed to be the more mature one, the older one in the situation. And I say that only because I know age is not always a factor in some of this maturity, but you're his mentor. At the end of the day, he still is, regardless of how he feel in that moment, he still low-key looks up to you as a mentor. And you still have a duty as a mentor to others to show the other ones who are watching this transpire, hey, this is how you move when you start to become a proper man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say a man or whatever and stuff like that, but when you become a certain type of class man, when you have a reputation, when you have things to lose, sometimes you have to be the bigger person in the situation. Sometimes you have to learn how to forgive and move on. Sometimes you have to sit there and put your pride aside and say, you know what? I hear you. I hurt you. I'm sorry. That's it. That's all. And I commend Ashley for go ahead and taking that steps to have a sit down with little Jamie. I pray and I hope that it went well. And it happened. And they made some strides of getting them closer to the civils. And and eventually I hope that Quick does the same. I hope he can get some of that anger and hate out of his heart for a young man making a mistake along his journey.
Yeah. I don't know. Based on what I'm seeing now, I don't have a lot of hope. I think that they kind of repaired that scenario, but seems like so much has happened between now and then since the show was aired that I think, it's unfortunate. I don't see the Silvers and you know, what's Jamie and the Tylers, I don't see it, and it seemed like they had such a good, they had good chemistry. So it's really unfortunate. But yeah, what I think you mentioned the once they got to the basketball game, that was a good scene.
It was very interesting.
Think we
Good.
got clarity? Did we get some clarity?
I think we got somewhere. I mean, we were still circling the drain, as you like to say, but I think we finally went down the tube. I think we finally flushed that out. But oh, child, I mean, listen, I'm trying to get to the space so I can read the DM that Joy has sent her. However, at the game, they finally all make it to the skybox, and first to enter was Ashley's friend. It was all love, hugs, and shits and giggles at this point right there. Of course, when the Tylers came in, it was still love, it was still everything. And boy, when Joy and Clifton walked in, it was crickets. We heard the game. The audience heard the game playing in the background, child. It was absolute dead silence up in there. And the only people that to greet them was the Tylers. And Joy basically had to climb over the counter just to hug Arena and Jamie. I was like, child, what is happening? What is happening? Not even an acknowledgement from Quick. I was just like, wow, you're different in front of your wife. You're real different in front of your wife. And I ain't trying to say who run households, but all right, Ashley definitely. Ashley definitely is wearing the pants over there. Like, seriously, because I feel that you still should have been able to address people cordially, because this is not technically your beef. Why did you invite them if you're going to just ignore them for as long as you did? I don't say he completely ignored them, but as for as long as you did, you ignored them. So you shouldn't have invited them. You're the one who begged to invite everybody. You knew she had a problem with him, and you should have just left it at that when she said you can invite the Tylers. I'm okay with that. But you asked for the petty, so you should have went on and acknowledged at the least Clifton. You don't have to acknowledge Joy, but you technically wanted to invite Clifton anyway. So I don't know, you made a face.
I don't like that. I don't care, and this has happened, when I was married or whatever. But I'm not gonna invite somebody to a place where I am in my house, and I'm just not gonna not speak to them. It is such an uncomfortable scenario, and I'll give a little bit of another example. Before my ex-wife, and then she was married previously, so her ex-husband and I, at some point, we just didn't get along, and it was kind of similar to this. It was like we never had a full-on argument or exchange of words, but it was it was a lot of he said, she said, information traveling back and forth, and we never got to fully have a conversation. And unfortunately, we kind of got to a much better place towards the tail end of my marriage. So too little too late. But nevertheless, we would see each other, like we would be at things for the kids, and there would be no speaking. And then I used to speak, and then I just used to get blank stares, so I just don't I just don't like it. It was very awkward. I just remember being at dinners, like we were at an intimate dinner, less than 10 people. And my stepkids are talking to me. My wife obviously is talking to me, but nobody else. Like he wouldn't talk to me. And it was just such a weird, it's weird. So I don't like that. I would never want to be part of that again. And this just reminded me a little bit of that. It's like, don't invite somebody somewhere, or don't be in somebody's presence and don't speak to them. I just think come on, like, let's just be grown. Let's be adults. It doesn't need to, it doesn't mean like, I'm not saying I need to have a long-winded conversation. And funny enough, once we started talking, like, because he's a talker, it was like he would just talk to me about any and everything. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. Now I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm so used to you not talking to me. Now you
Still
talking
too
to me.
soon.
I'm like, oh, okay. But again, I'm fortunate that at least we were able to build that bridge and have a conversation. But yeah, I just didn't like that. And I didn't like that Ashley was being so rude. I felt like she was being rude, And it's like, give people the benefit of the doubt if you've invited them to be someplace, and engage them in conversation. It's like, you don't have to be mean like that. Like, I just, that bothers me. I guess that's my little heart part, the little bit of empathy, empath part of my personality. I just don't like to see people isolated like that. And you're coming into a space and you're just going to ignore them. It's like, come on, let's not do that. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that.
I'm a type of person, if you speak to me, I'm going to say something. It may be a dry hi. So if you give me a dry hi back, that's just fine. If I walk into a space, if I don't want to address you specifically, I'll address the group. You know what I'm saying? So it won't be awkward. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Arena. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, hey, everybody, and leave it alone and let you go from there. As a host, if you come into my space, I'm definitely going to address you. And if I still feel in some type of way, I'm just going to say, can we talk before we go any further? Because I don't want the night to be awkward or whatever and stuff like that. So let's just have a conversation. But even when I say, let's go have a conversation, I have to remind myself, I have to be open, because I'm saying, let's go have this conversation. Now, I get Ashley was not the one that asked for the conversation, but she engaged Joy when she did it. She entertained Joy when she went out there. So when I'm entertaining, I still have to remind myself, I'm agreeing to go to have this conversation. I can sit there and say, no, I have that option. No, I do not want to have a conversation with you, because I do not want to entertain anything you got going on right now. We good. And I can leave it at that. There's so many different ways I think these people could have approached the situation, but I really liked the way that Joy came in, at least attempted to try to speak to everybody. Like, you know what? I'm not bothered. I'm not this. I'm not that. I sent the text to you. I'm going to read the text that she sent to her. I'm put the ball back in your court. It was in my court. Now I'm putting it back in your court. Do what you will. That showed big of Joy's character. It could be fake, it could be phony, whatever the case, but it showed big of Joy's character is that I am at least trying to move forward in this time and space. I don't want to come here and have an argument and disrupt the game. I feel like Ashley could have been a little bit bigger in her attitude and her approach, and at least said, hey, Quick definitely should have said something. You invited these people. Why would you invite this type of energy into your box? Because now you're creating the energy. They didn't come in with the energy. You're creating the energy by not addressing them or acknowledging that they're there. And then that late, hey, everybody. Yeah, you could have kept it at this point. I'm going to read Joy's text real quick. Sorry, because I got to try to read it off the thing. Because they won't let me screenshot. I don't be blocking me from all kind of stuff. So let me see if I can get it real quick before I do something weird. Okay. So basically she said, Hey Ashley, hope all is well with you and your family. In light of recent events that has transpired, there needs to be a mature conversation between us so we can lay it out on the table honestly and respectfully. The goal is to clear up any discord we will inevitably cross paths presently, okay, and in the future. We are role models for love and women of color, so we owe it to ourselves and to have a dialogue to better understand one another. If time permits, I'd like for us to talk in person. She says Ashley didn't respond, but I'm like, when you leave it to say I like it for us to talk in person, some people could just be like, okay, when I see you, we'll talk. I think, if she left the in person off and just left it with, I like to have a conversation with you soon as possible. And I mean, on this thing, it says delivered, doesn't say read. So maybe Ashley is leaving our own unread. I don't know. But I guess this is the in person conversation that we decide we're going to have. And we said it in the beginning, these girls are just circling around the ring. Ain't nobody trying to make contact, nobody trying to land a punch. They just circling around the ring.
She saw that message because I know your team Android, but there's a way you can see it without without having it come up red, because it'll show up on your notifications, so you can see it just as long as you don't click in it.
Yeah, no, Android is definitely that. The Android is definitely that. You can definitely look at it. I can read the message and be like, didn't get it.
Yep. I think, and it's so unfortunate. And I mean, I don't, I do like Ashley, but I think sometimes she just comes off immature. And I think she gets so in her feelings. It's like when she's like there, it's like she's all the way there. And I think she feels like she's done enough. And like when you offend somebody, I just think it's wild that you don't give them room to process it, especially if it's not like you stepped on her toe. Like you legit, whether you feel like they had some behind the scenes plan, whatever it is, you messed up their plan and you told something that you said you wasn't going to tell. And you acknowledge that you said that you were told not to share this information. So I think you have to, like, you can't be so one-sided and so in your feelings that you don't realize that you made a mistake. So it's up to you. And like here they are coming in to an event that you invited them in after the last time you kicked her out of your house and you had that whole big thing. You told her you made her, or you told her, you should be grateful in so many words for being on this show because of her. And now it's like you almost want her to like kiss. She wants her to kiss her, she wants her to kiss the ring. It's like she should come in there all nice, all accepting of how, things went. It's like you got to come down off. You got to let go of your pride a little bit. And I think that like Ashley just has a lot of pride, and you have to let that guard down. You have to let that pride down. And just realize, hey, I made some mistakes. I may not have liked what you did here. I made some mistakes. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. So I just want her to be a little, just not so with her heels dug in, because Joy really hasn't done anything much to her yet for her heels to be dug in and not liking her so much.
Well, the thing with Ashley is she struggles with taking accountability for a lot of stuff, that her part in things, because even in this back and forth, she didn't realize how they got there. Her thing is jumping all the way to some stuff Joy said after she made her comment about how she brought her there. Then is to jump in, oh, well, you just came into my house without speaking to me. Well, you didn't give me a chance. And then you're jumping from that, you came into my house, to the fact that you forgot how this all started. This started because you told somebody, and now because I don't want to accept your forgiveness or your apology at a particular window for you, now you're mad at me. Well, because you didn't accept my apology, you shouldn't be here at this party. Well, maybe I'm coming to this party to face make up with you. Because I allowed you to apologize the way you want to, I can be able to forgive how I want to. You have to allow me that space when you're actually genuinely looking for apology. You have to allow me my space to process everything that has happened and in return give you an honest forgiveness. So I just feel like Ashley has a lot of maturing to do. She has to start taking accountability for her part in situations and stop looking to blame everybody else as it's all your fault. This is why we got here. You need to bow down. You need to apologize to me and all this stuff like that. And I don't know. It's like, you don't have to be friends. You don't have to do it to be friends, but it's just to move forward in life. This is like good practice on being cordial with people, because you're going to have to enter spaces where you're going to have to be around people you actually genuinely don't like and don't get along with. Or people are not going to invite you out to places. And that's your money. That's your money. So if people feel like you're hard and difficult to work with, guess what? They stop working with you. And I like to say, don't burn your bridges. You never know who can block your blessings because you're holding on to some grudge because a person won't accept your apology.
Yeah, Jacqueline is saying it. Yeah, I need Quick to just, yeah, it's not like, I know it sounds a little rough, so I'm gonna avoid saying that expression, but in 2024, but when they say a
Don't
man needs
worry,
to put
Jamie
his
gonna
woman
say
in a
it for
place.
you. Jamie gonna say it for you next week anyway.
So I just think he needs to have honest conversations. How about we say that, right? Instead of saying put her in her place, have some honest conversations. And I think that's what it needs to be. And it's funny, I know people like Ashley, and she's the kind of person, like, once somebody does something to them, it's very hard for them to come down. And that's just where she is. It's like, once she feels, doesn't matter what her role is, once she feels like somebody has done something wrong to her, and in her mind she feels like Joy was hella disrespectful to her in the house, she didn't like that Joy didn't speak to her, and then she doesn't like the back and forth that she had with Joy at her holiday party. So once that happens, in her mind, there's not a whole lot that Joy can probably do. And now, double down on it, she's heard this jealous comment that came from Clifton. So it's like she has so much ammunition, and so she's just amped up, and she's truly in her feelings. So I don't know what we can do. I don't know what we can do to kind of like bring this down. And again, that's why this song popped into my head. It's like there's no understanding, because she just wants to be completely, upset at Joy. And it's until, exactly, Ari said it, she wants her to just come in saying, I was wrong, I was wrong, I was wrong. Well, we know Joy, and that's not gonna happen. And I don't think that necessarily she should. I don't think she should be bowing down to Ashley either, because they both need to come to the table with, hey, I did this, I did this.
The craziest thing too, though, is Joy comes into the table saying, hey, yeah, I said what I said. I said this. And I've never, it could be edited out, I never had really heard Joy other than the last little part of saying, yeah, I said this, when you mentioned the fact that you brought it to the table. That's the only time she's actually addressed something as, I've done this because this was you did this. Most of the time she's just taking ownership, and she don't really say why she went there or whatnot. And that she had right in that moment is because let's not forget how we got here. But hold up, we got here because you made this comment, so that's why I said that comment. or whatnot. That you, I said we're not friends because you made it seem like you're bringing me to the table. But that's way after you done jumped down my throat for walking into this house. And you double down by saying that you brought me to the table, that I wouldn't be here if I wasn't the case. So let's back up. Let's just start at the beginning. Can you just apologize for telling your friend my business? That's all. If we start there, everything else works itself out. You can't sit here and now be mad at me because you was in the wrong. And then want to stick to, oh, so now I'm jealous. You're looking for things to be mad at this woman. She sat there in your face and told you, they say it, I don't say it. Clifton may have said, Carmen may have said, that's not necessarily where I feel. And we have friends that do that. We have friends that have our back like that, and we'll sit there, I'd be like, Sean, oh, them people just jealous of you, boy. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna chalk it up. We just want to get over that situation. That's where we chalk it up. They some haters. They jealous. That's what friends do. Your issue is no longer with Joy. Girl, we good. We friends. But the truth came out. She has no desire to be friends with her. At this point, she's trying to ice her out or whatnot. And I don't know what's going on in the reality TV world this season. I'm going to bring in another show real quick about this, though. But y'all bring in people, quote unquote, as y'all say, because Married to Medicine is doing this too with Sweet Tea. Y'all bring in people to push out other people or to fill in spaces with people just to push them out. That's the craziest thing to me. Because these are ensemble casts. Y'all kind of need these people to be there with you. And you don't have to have resolve because a bit of the drama helps the TV show go. So I'm not expecting these ladies to just come to a quick resolve right here and then we move forward. This little bit of drama is stimulating for us. We need it. However, just to be trying to keep finding things, petty little things to hold on to be mad at somebody is wild to me. It's really wild. You would have thought this was a Phaedra, Candy, and Portia situation. That's a reason to hold on to this much venom for a person. Seriously. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's this big. I just don't like the whole, and then Ashley. It was so funny at the end. Ashley was like, "Well, you can go," and Joy says, "No."
Wait, not only did she just say no, she said, and Quick said to go downstairs with him. So she need to be going.
Aren't you supposed to be downstairs on the court side? So go you. How about you go? I'm tired of you. Just said, you're not gonna kick me. She said it going in too. She's like, I'm not trying to get kicked out twice. So that's what she was like. She's like, no, we're here. You invited me. Enjoy. I mean, for me, I think like this is why I say Ashley has to do better with her maturity, right? Because you are the one that opened the door and saying like, oh, we don't need to talk anymore. I'm good. I'm done. Okay, so then be done.
Listen, now, I'm going to tell you now, the fact that I came to a skybox and I'm now standing, that would have been done right there. Like, hold up. See, I could have got me some seats downstairs courtside,
right,
or somewhere up in there. It had some seats, but I'm up in here standing and I can still barely see the game. Nah. Nah. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't get to invite me to dismiss me and ignore me type thing. Like, just don't invite me.
Yeah. I think that to me is like we got to have better conflict resolution. And if Ashley wasn't in a position to really talk, then you shouldn't have spoken, right? Say, you know what? I definitely think we need to have a conversation, but you know what? We invited you to the game. Let's enjoy the game, and maybe we could talk at the end of the game. Or maybe you and I can just grab a bite and have some coffee because she was looking for vodka. No. Vodka and conflict don't go good together.
For some people,
So
they really don't.
I've never seen vodka help anything get resolved. Now, if we're all partying and we're having a good time, yeah, we drinks can flow and we can have a good old time and have some vodka. But if we're not in a good place and I'm looking for more vodka, it's going up. You know what I mean? It's not going well.
Well, the last time they was off that liquor too, and it didn't go too well. So
No.
Everything, candy canes was getting thrown around and tossed around that night. So look, okay. So one last question before we actually get out of here. Now we know we get on Arena for inserting herself in a whole bunch of business. And this house started by Jamie this time, jumping up in the mess. Do you think Jamie took the best approach to try to resolve some of the tension? Should he have said anything to resolve some of the tension in the room? Because the tension was thick and it was quite awkward for the scene or whatnot. Do you think somebody else probably should have jumped up and did it? Was he the right person to do it? What you think?
Yeah, no, I think nobody should have done anything because after they had that little moment out in the hallway, it should have just been let's just have a good time. This is probably not going to be the best way to resolve anything.
Now, Rose, back. Jamie is the reason they end up going in the hallway.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. He's the reason why they walked out. I mean, yes, he could have. Maybe he shouldn't have. I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I just think it escalated even worse with Clifton. Now, that's the part where I definitely have a better opinion. Jamie, I don't know, because it didn't really go too bad because it just wound up the result was them walking out and, Ashley and Joy got a chance to talk before it, took off.
Now, the Clifton and Ashley of it all. I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to ask who is right and wrong in this situation. Because I do feel like they both was wrong. Or whatnot. Because one, listen, now I know I'll be ready to go below the blow or whatnot. But unless I'm ready to move a whole bunch of chairs in that skybox, I'm not going to be all in Clifton face in the front. Telling him what he shouldn't be doing and all that stuff. However, Quick is on the shorter side of Clifton. And I also do advocate for women not putting their man in situations. So I don't know. I know she wanted to get her point across about the jealousy comment. I don't think it was best for her to approach him, but I'm trying to still figure out a way that would have been best for them all to sit there. And maybe it just probably was not to have this conversation this day. I think that would probably been the best situation, is just to have it where it's in a more calm setting, a more chill space where all couples could be present. Because Quick, of course, is not in the room at this time either. So all couples needed to be present and to actually just sit at a more calm time and address this. I don't know.
I'm with you. And I think they should have handled it just like Jamie and Arena handled it when Ashley and Quick had that issue with, Jamie Jr., right? Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't come to nobody's house because nobody should be able to kick nobody out. But like they should go somewhere, sit down and have coffee. I think they should have done that. And then they could have this conversation. But I don't like, and I think Clifton was wrong here, is even if Ashley was doing all the bumping of her gums, he shouldn't have kind of lunged at her. you know, whatever he did. And I don't think he was trying to be aggressive per se physically, but he was just getting into the interaction with her. And I think he does need to be conscious of his size and that he's a man. He's a man first and then his size, because I don't care if he was 5'2", he still shouldn't have lunged. But, you know, those two things he needs to be conscious of. And I think he was too ready to get into it with her. And he could have even, well, it wasn't necessarily a lunge, but he moved. He was talking with his body, talking with his,
he came
was
in
like this. You can't do that. You know, you just can't, you know, he didn't like I'm gonna do this, but he like moved forward as he was talking to her. And you cannot do that. You just can't do that, especially in a heated situation. You need to be conscious, and he needed to be in a calmer position. So best case scenario, he should have said, hey, listen, Arena, I don't think we should have this conversation. You know, like, I don't want to do this with you. You know, I don't want to do this with you. You know, I don't want to kind of get into a back and forth with you. I don't want to do that, you know, and just left it at that. And if she still wants to go, he could have let her go and be like, you know what? If Joy was still in the room, hey, babe, you know, it's probably best that we should go. No, he wasn't telling him to. Didi, I told you earlier, you need to watch the show. Didi got to watch the show. She only see the clips. No, he wasn't telling her to back up. He was just talking. Cliff is from Queens. I'm from Queens. Sometimes we get in a conversation and we're excited. You know, people do it. It's not just a New York thing. Just people in general talk with their body. They talk with their hands. So he was talking with his hands and his body, and he leaned forward while he was talking to her.
Now, a lot of times, and listen, when you raise in the hood, no matter which hood you're from, you raise in the hood, you see a lot of different ways people maneuver in the hood. Some people can hold frame and still get at you real quick. A lot of times. But a lot of times when you see a person readjust themselves and do like one of these, you already know it's starting to get tense. When they start leaning into you a little bit, and he didn't like really lunge, but because he is a big solid dude, when you move forward like this, you're now entering my space. And when I say you from a place where people fight any kind of way, when you enter this space, it ain't nothing for you to do like one of these real quick. You ain't got to use your hands. You close enough to get in all the way. So yes, like Sean said, he has to be mindful of his presence. It's almost in a sense of boxers when they are put into positions of being like approached by crazy people. You know what I'm saying? Their hands are not licensed as a weapon. When you're a big dude, you're a big stocky type dude, solid dude, you have to be aware your body is now licensed as a weapon, not in the same form as boxers, but you can be charged just because of your presence. I'm sorry, that's just what it is for Black America. We can't, it don't get a pass a lot of times. So if he had accidentally slipped and fell into her, it would still have been a problem. So he has to hold frame a lot of times. But because Clifton is a bit animated, he does talk with his hand. He talks with his body a lot of times, even in the joking setting. He talks with his hands and he talks with his body. It's going to come off some way. Now, I do not agree with her going forward in the next episode of saying that he came at her like all kind of way, because I don't think that was his intent. Sometimes when a person is saying something you don't agree with, your body language tends to like, excuse me? Say what now? We do this. No matter the height of whatever and stuff like that, we do. Us Black people, when we don't agree with something, it's like, come again, because my good ear need to hear this. I used to talk to my bad ear, so say it to my good ear, because you talking crazy. You're talking foolish right now to me. And that's why I think he was actually approaching the situation as you talking foolish to me. But technically she wasn't. You the one who said she was jealous. But on that flip side, Ash, pipe down. because I know the cameras is rolling. I know we are on TV, and I don't think Clifton is the type of man who's actually going to put hands on a woman. But I don't put nothing past any man. And I know we live in a world where a lot of these immature, underdeveloped men, and I shouldn't even call them men, juveniles exist in men body, and they do strange things to people. So I wouldn't even present myself with that challenge sometimes if you're not ready. And I'm just gonna give that same advice my daddy gave me. If you're not ready to go toe to toe with a man, don't be in a man's face, because you just don't know who raised him, what his upbringing is, and what his triggers are. So I would advise her to pipe back a little bit. Sometimes just go get your husband, or just go and join your husband on court side, because that's where you were supposed to be heading anyway. Let them stay in the box. You're not even there. You're not even there. And guess what? Your friend is up in there to tell you what they say, because you know she is. You know she is. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is one of those Bartiz situations where everybody was a little right and everybody was a little wrong. You know, Ashley was right because, you know, Clifton said something out of pocket about the whole jealousy thing, you know, but she was wrong for just going in there like, I'm gonna go, you know, she did go in guns a-blazing. You know, he was right to, you know, discuss it and say why he thought what he thought, but he was wrong for not being aware and conscious of how he was maneuvering in the situation. You saw in his face, he wasn't like yelling at her, or he was not like in that position. But again, I just think he needed to be more present in realizing you are having an argument with a woman, right? And you're bigger than her, you're much stronger, you're significantly bigger than her, you're much stronger than her. Her husband is not even in the room to kind of like help navigate the situation. You might just want to, you know, remove yourself before you engage in that kind of tension. So I think it definitely could have been handled. But, you know, I think anybody watching it, you're not going to get the impression that he was going to, like he was trying to, you know, do something physical, maybe slightly intimidate her. But then you also have to flip to her position. She's heated, she's upset, she sees somebody big moving towards her. You're not going to be in the frame of mind to say he's just being, you know, he's just being animated. It looks like we're having an argument, you're coming in my direction, and you're much bigger than I am, you know? So I just wish this situation wouldn't have happened. I just felt bad once it went that way, and then it was just like everybody got involved and started separating them, and then she went even further. You know, her hands is flying. I'm like, Ashley, please, please, come on. No.
Sometimes when we get that audience, baby, we just go decide we're gonna put on our action, baby. That's I think I've noticed that about Ashley, is when she get an audience, she go big. I love me some Ashley. I love Ashley's realness and rawness and stuff, but sometimes she just goes too far. And then it's like, I go too far. Now I let me walk away. Let me look at, she did it with Arena. You was in Arena's face. And then when Arena start coming at you, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do that. Now you're in this man's face. And when he leans into you, oh, now he's coming at me. No, sis, you keep coming at people. But you don't really want to go toe to toe with them like that and stuff. And I'm not saying that she can't or won't, but you really don't want to. So sometimes you just got to learn how to either dead situations or check people at a different time and space. You got to get into one of them Candace spirits and start using your words, because she good with them. Oh no, yeah, Candace will have you bop you over her head though.
No, yeah, the words. People, anybody that tells you, guys, we need to stop this foolishness. Sticks and stones will break your bones, and words will hurt you too. So choose your words, because sometimes your words,
the words get you hurt. The words will get you hurt.
Don't be like Candace, because then, but now Candace is up here trying to pretend like she don't know why her other friend Robin is upset at her. Another one.
No
accountability.
None. Trying to still figure out how she got bopped over the head the first time by her mama purse. It was a
I
mama's purse.
forgot about that.
Mama said,
Oh, I'm gonna pop her right upside her head. That is horrible.
right. Nah, I don't. Yeah, we're not saying he was wrong for how he moved, but he got to just mind his frame. I know we as Black people, we do that lean in a lot of times when we don't agree
Yep.
and
And
stuff.
listen, I remember when we met Joy, Clifton, and Donovan for the first time in DC. They're big dudes, okay? And I'm a dude, and I'm not a slim, skinny kind of guy, you know. So when they were in my presence, I was looking up to them. They're big guys, you know. So and Clifton is a jovial kind of guy. So I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
He's watching, anybody's watching, I'm not saying that. He is a very lighthearted, fun kind of guy. But you also have to understand that when you're in a heated exchange with somebody, your proportions can be very intimidating, especially when you're a man to a woman. So I definitely don't think his intent was to get physical with Ashley. 1,000% no. I just think he should have done a better job of being conscious of how he was moving when they were having that heated exchange. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all I'm saying. Is he just needed to be careful and conscious of how he was maneuvering. And best case scenario, he eliminated himself from the conversation.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was wrong for addressing her coming at him and stuff, but she got to slow down at the come out because she crossed a barrier too. Like you crossed into his threshold. Now you want him to back up. Like, like hold on, you rushed in. So if he was a different type of man and he had grabbed you, we'd be seeing a whole different scenario. If he'd have jumped over the thing, because even where he was on the other side, on the down where the stairs was. So it's not like he would have literally had to lunge over the stairs like that guy at the judge. It would have been a whole different situation. So he was not coming at her. But the lean in can be intimidated. And then sometimes when we know we dealing with people that like to start stuff and play victim, and I'm not saying that this is Ashley per se, but it's a lot of people out here that run this Karen game or whatever. Come all be up in your space telling you about what you got going on and this and that. And as soon as you make one comment back, oh, they're coming at me. This is the Black people, this, that, and stuff. And as we see next week, oh, she got to calling him the B word and all of this. That type of energy, that mentality carries over. And people feel that. Because that's what when you're running up on a man, you're basically calling him one. Because you're telling him, I can whoop you up as a woman. That's why I'm up in your face. And some of us can. I ain't gonna hold you. Some of us can. But I ain't saying be out there doing that. Don't even try to challenge it, because it can go wrong if we beat a man down too. It can get worse than that. Okay. So I'm not trying to tell anybody to find out if you could whoop a man's ass or not. Just leave it alone sometimes. Just leave it alone and address it at a different time. You know what I'm saying? Because we done seen when Peter was in Nene's face and all that stuff. And sometimes I really think Nene could have took Peter. The way she was in his face, I think she could have took Peter. Okay? Don't get me wrong. But I don't agree with being in the man's face sometimes. Because for our safety first.
Yeah, definitely not. And I mean, yeah, I always, and I guess this is just me saying what I think is best. When I see it heated like that, especially if it's not my, not my girl, not my wife, I'm not gonna do that, because it can go left really quickly. So I'm just hyper conscious of that. And then I also know you don't know what people's triggers are either. And unfortunately, a lot of women have dealt with abuse. So you may be all well intentioned, but you're hyped up. You're going, you're excited and you're just talking, but you're triggering her too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, again, and I'm not saying Ashley was right. She shouldn't have even attempted that conversation. But I think once things happen, I'm going to always say, I'm going to hold us accountable as men to say, we got to be, especially you're the bigger person, you got to know. You got to assess the landscape. You see how she's popping off. You just got to let the course, let things run the course.
Yeah, God didn't give me no boys, but I always had the advice is if a girl got into your face, just walk away. Now, when she start grabbing on you in that presence and stuff, you have the right to kind of defend yourself,
Exactly.
grab her, whatever you might do and stuff like that. But try it for the most part to keep your hands off of her, but you do have your right to defend yourself. Anyways, that pretty much was the episode. Next week, it seems like it's going to be a doozy again because somehow the stuff in the toilet came right back up. So it didn't quite go down. It went round and round, but it didn't go down. So it seems like we're going to still be talking about this jealousy and the lean forward. He should have leaned back. Like Fat Joe saying, lean back.
That's what I was just thinking. Lean back.
Hit a limbo on her.
You gotta lean back.
Lean forward, getting you in trouble, bro. Don't lean in. Don't lean into it. Whew. Any last words, Sean?
I think you said it best. Lean back. It's always better. You're never gonna go wrong to just back out of a situation, and I think that's so important. That between not pushing forward in a disagreement and also listening. Communication is so important. That helps us to resolve issues a lot better than.
That was it. that was a sharp ending.
I said, let me quit while I'm ahead.
I was like, wait. Did you come?
I know I said to then, and now it's like, but you know what? Let's just leave it there. I'm taking my own advice, Jay. I'm taking my own advice.
We're going to leave it alone. Look, I'm going to take my own advice for a right now. I ain't going to even force you to say what you was trying to say. You said what you had to say. You said enough. I don't know, y'all. Well, I guess we'll be back here again next week to talk about episode 4 and more. We hopefully these ladies, be cordial going forward. Agree to not be friends as they said they are not going to be going forward from this point forth. But I know we got a rocky road ahead because it seems like it just gets worse and worse. Hi, my friend. I don't know. Anyways, in my quoting words that I'm about to put in the chat, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you lean back, as El said, say you're prepared for the punch, you don't have to get ready. Just be leaning back, okay? If she jumps on you, just be like, get off me, little bitty bee. And all you men out there, keep your hands off the ladies unless it's in a nice, appropriate, consensual way. Okay, please let it be consensual. We have learned over these last few weeks, consent is very important. Keep spaces to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself as you learned in grade school. And peace and love to you all. We'll see you again next week. And don't forget this week, tomorrow, hopefully, I'm going to set it up. I think we're going to do episodes 1 and 2 of Love is Blind. It is back tomorrow. Hopefully it drop at midnight so we can get these episodes cranking. Because I heard they trying to push 6 of them at a time at us. I was like, child, they trying to get through the season so quickly, ain't they? I don't know. But we'll be back for that. And this Friday, me and El Cid will be pushing it to Saturday. So we'll have the quick cap Saturday morning. I have class on Friday. So I have my master class on Friday. So I will not be here for the quick cap after the live. But I'm going to check in with Kojo and I'll post it on my channel if he's going to do his this week, because more than likely he might just be awake and does and does his after live after the show. So if he's going to do it, y'all see it up in my community tab. And you guys have a good time over there this weekend, and I'll catch that replay. But again, we'll be here Saturday for the quick cap, me and El Cid, to let y'all know how we really feel about this episode of Ready to Love coming up this week. All right, see you again next week. Love y'all, and bye-bye. All right, let's get up out of here, Sean. Sheesh.